Hi, everybody. Welcome to BYOB, the Bring Your Own Book podcast. I'm Nikki.
I'm Tilly.
And I'm Kelly.
And this week we're reading The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. So we just want to take a little moment before we get into any kind of discussion to just talk about a few trigger warnings for this book. There is talk of sexual violence, partner abuse, gaslighting, there's some gore, and there's some suicidal ideation.
Be safe out there, friends. Take care of yourselves.
Yes. And now that we have gotten that over with, I'm assuming a lot of people who are listening to this have probably read the book already, so you know these things. And we're going to get Tilly to read us a quick synopsis of the book.
Patricia Campbell had always planned for a big life, but after giving up her career as a nurse to marry an ambitious doctor and become a mother, Patricia's life has never felt smaller. The days are long, her kids are ungrateful, her husband is distant, and her to-do list is never really done. The one thing she has to look forward to is her book club, a group of Charleston mothers united only by their love for true crime and suspenseful fiction. In these meetings, they're more likely to discuss the FBI's recent siege of Waco as much as the ups and downs of marriage and motherhood. But when an artistic and sensitive stranger moves into the neighborhood, the book club's meetings turn into speculation about the newcomer. Patricia is initially attracted to him, but when some local children go missing, she starts to suspect the newcomer is involved. She begins her own investigation, assuming that he's a Jeffrey Dahmer or Ted Bundy. What she uncovers is far more terrifying, and soon she and her book club are the only people standing between the monster they've invited into their homes and their unsuspecting community.
Dun dun dun!
So spooky.
Okay, Kelly, want to tell us a little bit about the drink?
Yeah, I want to tell you about the drink we're going to drink tonight. So, as Tilly said, the book is set in Charleston, South Carolina. So we decided to take another Southern state's drink, the Alabama Slamma, and put our twist on it. So this is the Relaxed Alabama Slamma with your Southern comfort level of Southern comfort, orange juice, and a strawberry for garnish. So very fruity, light. I think it's going to be great.
Should we try it?
Yes. Cheers.
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 Oh,
Delicious.
you can't even taste the alcohol. I guess our Southern comfort level wasn't very high.
Or it was very high.
Indeed. What do you think, listeners? We'll have a picture of the drink up on our Instagram and our Facebook. So if you're not following or liking our pages, make sure you do that.
Yeah, we're going to get into a little bit of our feelings on the book. So we're going to go around and give our ratings out of 5 stars. We're doing this purely because this is kind of our Goodreads rating. We all have different opinions and thoughts on why we rate things a certain way. So don't take them to heart. It's just purely a way for us to kind of get you guys to gauge how we're feeling. So Tilly, do you want to go first?
This is not my typical genre of book. It is more of a horror type book, which I don't typically read. But I really loved it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed this novel. I thought the writing had a great sense of humor, and I was really compelled. Sometimes I was a little too scared, and I had to put it down for a little bit. There were some really scary moments that really got to me. And that kept it from being a 5-star book just because I'm a little scaredy cat.
Kelly, what about you?
I'm very similar to Tilly. I love reading thrillers, but I don't normally read horrors just because I am a chicken. So, but I gave it a 4 out of 5 because I really enjoyed it, even though there was some scary stuff. There was some stuff that made me angry, but it was good angry. I was angry with the protagonist, so it was all good. Yeah, and I thought at the beginning it was a little slow paced, but that might have just been because I was reading a few things all at once, because I tend to do that. I'm a big mood reader, and I like to read like 2 or 3 books at a time. That's just what I do. So yeah, but after maybe like the first few chapters, then it really picked up for me, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So 4 out of 5, loved it.
Awesome. Yeah, I rated this book 5 out of 5. This is my second time that I read it, so I already knew what was going on going into it. And yeah, my rating didn't change from the first time. And it was an even stronger 5 out of 5 for me the second time because I was able to really look at it critically and dive into all of the problems that Patricia faces with her family and also with the vampire. And yeah, I loved it. I loved all the spooky stuff, all the gory stuff, all the horrific things. It was great.
Nice.
I love
So
the gore.
it was an enthusiastic 5 out of 5 from Nikki.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, okay, quick little tangent, not really tangent, but a little backstory for one of our co-hosts, Nikki. Nikki loves horror stories. That's, I mean, good for her. That's great. But she told me once that she grew up at times with her mom working in a funeral home, and she would ride around the funeral home on a scooter, like little fun home over here, just like enjoying her time.
Yeah.
And Nikki's just hardcore.
Yeah.
That's just
She's
her.
more hardcore than either of us. And I'm comfortable enough with myself to say that I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you guys.
Anytime.
It's really not that scary. Like, I've never had a dead body, like, jump at me. So
I should hope not, but you're just like scooting around like me. Oh, there's a dead body in the way. Like, whoa. I mean, you do you. I'm glad that you had a great childhood and you scooted around. But anyways, I digress.
Okay, why don't we get into some first impressions?
Yeah, so one thing I was thinking about a lot while I was reading this book is, even though I don't typically read horror, I'm very interested in the concept of the genre, and it's very interesting to see people who do read horror and think about why they like to read it. So I assume that it's not just for the gross gory stuff and the like cheap thrill. And then I was thinking about how in this book you get to see how the community and the women and the book club really band together over this kind of collective trauma, and that's something you don't see in a book that doesn't have a lot of scary stuff. So it made me think about how books that are scary or books that are horror-based have these really amazing connections in them, and that maybe that's a part of why people like to read them. Do you think that's true for you, Nikki?
Yeah, I definitely say that it is. I do, obviously, with horror comes the kind of the cheap thrill of it, and that is also enjoyable for me. I found with this book, I found it a lot more comedic than scary really at any point. So I wouldn't say this is like the best book to base. If you read this and you're like, I think I love horror now, I wouldn't necessarily go that far. Read something that's actually maybe a little more like serious in tone. But reading things like Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky, that book terrified me. It's 700 pages. It's a brick. And I read it so quickly because it was so suspenseful, but so well done that I just, like, I was like flipping the pages like nobody's business. I couldn't put it down. And in that book, you see a lot the mother and son kind of go through this whole transformation. And then you see the kids banding together to fight this other entity. And there's something about that that's so powerful because you like to think if something bad was happening in real life, you and your friends would also be able to band together to fight this kind of oppressive thing, whatever it may be in the book you're reading. So, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
I like
I
that.
love it.
It kind of makes me feel similar to like Greek tragedies, like in theater, because I mean, I would be more likely to read a horror book than to watch a horror movie. My husband loves horror. I don't. Like I said before, I'm a chicken. But I love reading dark things. I love dark plays. I like that stuff. I don't like violence because I think my imagination just like runs wild and it's like, ugh, like too much for me. But this book was not that, like you were saying. Like there were a few very scary or suspenseful scenes that we will get into. Believe you me, we're gonna get to that because whoa. But it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm gonna scream. Like this is, no. There was a lot of humor. There was like things that made you angry. There was you know, little like adventure kind of thing. Like there's like a mystery. It wasn't all like scare, scare, scare. This is terrifying, whatever, right? Like I think, yeah, I don't know if that made any sense.
It totally did.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you're totally right that it wasn't like scare, scare, scare. I feel like every suspenseful or horror-filled moment was really well earned. I think there was really great build-up to everything. And the fact that there was kind of this funny aspect to a lot of the scenes made it kind of easier to digest. And it is easier to read a scary book than watch a scary movie, for me anyway. I agree. I think it's because you're not kind of confronted with the visual of it. Yes. So it is nice with a book that you can kind of imagine at your own pace, in your own level of Southern comfort.
Yes.
And you can put the book down if you need to, rather than seeing kind of an onslaught of gore in a scary movie, which is entirely too much for me.
Yeah, but also when you're reading, you have to imagine everything that's going on, not just the horrific things. Whereas in a movie, it's just like thrown at you. But in a book, you're like, I don't have time to linger on that terrifying thought because I got to keep up with what's being written. You know, like my eyes need to go with my brain needs to go with what's happening. The eyes are connected to the brain, the hip bone, whatever, you know.
Yeah. Got it. The elbow's connected to the,
Yes. But also, back to the humor, I mean, just the synopsis. Okay, yes, Nikki, the hip bone is connected.
I can't get over that.
I think we put too much Southern comfort in this. I'm like, woo. But Kate, no, going back to the humor, I mean, you just hear the synopsis, and it's a book club of housewives in the 80s, and then it goes into the 90s as the book progresses. So you have a book club of suburban women and a vampire-esque creature. That right there is funny.
It is, and I think the cover of the book too really lends itself to looking fun,
yes,
rather than looking scary. I think when I first saw the book, I wasn't really expecting it to be as scary as it was, because the cover image, the title page, I get, what's that called? The cover? The book cover.
Yeah.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
It's a cover. Moving on. The cover has 2 peaches on it with little bite marks and little blood coming out. And there's also, I think, some little flowers. No, just leaves. It's just peaches, but the style of the illustration is very cute.
Yeah.
And kind of like fun and artistic looking. And when I read it, I wasn't really expecting it to be as scary as it was. I wouldn't say the cover is misleading, but it is kind of, it does speak to that straddling of genres.
The one thing I will say about the cover is I was really happy with the cover art, because a lot of horror books get really ugly covers.
Sure do.
They get the kind of like 80s, 90s looking artwork on them, and I'm just like, why? All other books, like YA books and everything like that, they get these beautiful covers. So I was really happy with this. I wanted to pick the book up before I even knew what it was about because of the cover.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people judge by that, so it's smart.
Yeah. My husband's like, you can't judge a book by the cover. I'm like, are you serious? How do you think anyone buys a book? By reading it first? No. Like, hello? First impressions, okay?
Yep.
But also, that's exactly how I talk to him. Like, no. I mean, sort of. But, like, also, why do they think that adult books need to have ugly covers? I disagree. Adults have more money most of the time than youth to be buying these books. So give us some nice covers and I'll buy them all.
I have a really hard time picking adult books because all the covers are kind of ugly.
Yeah.
I think I'd pick up more fantasy books too if they were nicer looking.
Adult fantasy, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I buy a lot of used books, so usually the cover isn't the first thing that draws me in. I mean, obviously it's a part of it, but usually, I guess if I'm at like a used bookstore or a book sale, I'm looking for specific books already, so maybe that's part of it.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not always as concerned with the aesthetic of it, but I think that's because my style of...
Because you're looking for something specific in that.
Yeah, or I'm also looking for... I really like variety in all my design choices. So I like to see a bookshelf that has like all different sized books and different ages and different levels of colors and wear. I don't know. That's just, I like a little bit of entropy in my design choices, I guess is what I'm saying. Also in my dialogue choices, as it turns out.
Well, Nikki already recommended a book, Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky, which I am dying to read. Nikki has so kindly lent it to me. Thank you. Do you have a book recommendation, Tilly? I don't know if I do.
I do, yeah. I mean, I think it's just a kind of a basic recommendation, which is Dracula by Bram Stoker. Obviously, the source material for a vampire story. So there were a lot of really great callbacks in this book to Dracula, and it's, I don't know, I think it's kind of the original vampire story in that it's very compelling, very dark, very scary, and everyone's trying to figure out what is this creature that's terrorizing this town. It's funny, actually, reading Dracula today. I think I read it for the first time in university, and I just remember being so annoyed that none of the idiot townspeople could figure out that it was a vampire, which is so silly because obviously Bram Stoker invented the whole thing, but I was just reading it thinking, hello, the signs are there, the garlic, the bats, all of it, people, wake up.
The garlic.
But, he invented it, so that's why nobody knew what was going on, because it had never happened before. Anyway, just a fun little anecdote from me, but Dracula is a great read, and I would recommend it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Another really good one is Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. And if you don't want to take the time to read the book, you can watch the movie, because that's pretty good, too. But that's another kind of, like, classic vampire story. It's been around for a hot minute. Not as hot a minute as Dracula, but
the hottest of minutes.
Yeah. But it's a really good read. It's really compelling. You kind of get the same vibe as Southern Book Club, where you get into the antagonist's head a little bit of why they're doing the things they're doing, their justifications on things. So if you liked that part of this book, that would be a really good book to read.
Cool.
I've
never read that one, but I'd like to. It's kind of steamy too, isn't it?
Girl, yeah. I saw the movie. It's like just sex scene vampire, which, I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying. It is by Anne Rice. Isn't she more of like a romance novel or romance author?
She's a romance novel, yes.
She gets so into her work, she just becomes the work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've never read anything else by her, so... We're moving into spoilers now, so if you're going to stop listening, we would love it if you could drop us a rating on the podcast app of your choice along with a review. If you have any comments or questions or things you'd like to see done differently in future episodes, we would love to hear it. Feel free to send us an email at byobookpodcast@gmail.com or send us a DM on Facebook or Instagram. We're going to start off the spoiler section of this episode with a quick recap of everything that happens in the book.
So, as you know from the synopsis, the story centers on housewife Patricia Campbell, who lives in Charleston, South Carolina, and has a book club with some other suburban housewives where they read true crime novels.
Patricia is brutally attacked by her elderly neighbor one night and gets her ear bitten off in a very wild scene that was completely unexpected, but has some pretty big ramifications later on.
Then, James Harris moves in, and Patricia has a few uncomfortable run-ins with him. At first, she's attracted to him, but she starts suspecting something is up once her mother-in-law, Miss Mary, tells her the story of Hoyt Pickens. She also notices that James' cleaning lady went missing.
Then, we fast forward a few years. Children have been going missing in the predominantly black community of 6 Mile. Patricia struggles with whether she should intervene or not, and eventually talks to Mrs. Green about what she knows about James, which leads to Patricia going into the woods at night and witnessing James feeding on a missing child. It was serious freaky shit, okay? It was nasty.
It was. And now that Patricia knows what James is or what he's capable of, she decides to sneak into his house, and there in the attic, wrapped up in a trunk, she finds the body of his missing cleaning lady. Then there's a truly horrifying scene of her hiding from James in the attic.
Oh, yeah.
Which we're going to get into in more detail. Wow. That was almost too much for me.
James suspects that Patricia and her book club is onto him, He attacks and rapes Slick, and she gets sick and dies.
A whole other wild bunch of stuff happens. And then, Tilly?
In the end, Patricia and her book club surprise James while he's feeding. They drug him, and they literally chop him
While
up to
he's
bits
still
in the
alive.
bathtub.
Yes.
Happy ending.
The last scene is Patricia visiting Slick's grave and hearing James's chopped up bits moving in the crypt.
It's like Carrie, but worse.
Just disembodied bits moving around. Is he coming back? We don't know.
Good fertilizer, though.
Great ending.
So like I said at the beginning of the episode, I found it a little bit slow at the very beginning, and I think it was just because I was reading a few books at the same time, because then, like, not soon after, like maybe the 5th chapter, like when the book club gets to the 2nd true crime novel, I think, shit hit the fan. Like, she goes out to take the garbage out, and she gets attacked by, like, a rabid old lady. Her ear gets friggin' bitten off. Or I guess not the whole ear. It's not like Mike Tyson, but it's like, whoa.
Her
Intense.
earlobe.
Yeah. No more earrings, lady. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Well, I guess she gets it fixed. Whatever. She's got money to fix it. But that's still, like, terrifying. And I just couldn't believe, like, everyone was like, what? Like, I couldn't believe it was not a bigger issue with the people in the neighborhood. They're just like, oh, I heard about Miss Savage. Like, what happened, you know? It's like, she was rabid and ate my ear in the trash. She was also eating trash like a little raccoon. Like, what?
Yeah, it was a lot. That was definitely like the inciting incident, as they say, you know, because everything was pretty normal up until that point. And then that's the first taste that we get that there's something really weird going on. There's some sort of supernatural shit happening.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have happened if her son Blue had just taken the garbage out when she asked him.
Well, but maybe it would have happened to him.
But she asked him to do it hours ago.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Are you trying to defend the son? No, I'm kidding.
No, I'm just saying it. I think it would have happened to... I think it would have happened either way because... The fate? I don't know.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That situation also is the catalyst for the first time we see Carter, Patricia's husband, be a huge dickwad.
Yep.
So Patricia coos at the beginning of the book about how she got this very nice pair of earrings from him and how he never gives her nice gifts. And she was so happy to have them that she wore them to her book club with Marjorie Fretwell. And in getting attacked by the old lady and Savage, her earlobe gets bitten off and her earring is swallowed. She is devastated by this, and she says to Carter, but I'll never have the earring again. I guess they could fish it out of her. And he says, it's okay. They're costume jewelry that I got for free from a patient. I'll get you something at the pharmacy later. And that's just the beginning of a whole downhill slope of Carter just being awful.
The worst. Honestly, all the men in this were the worst.
Oh my god, seriously. I feel like the vampire was the least worst of them. Actually, no, that's a lie.
I don't know, but I think they were all pretty bad. I mean, not to say, you know, that men in general are bad,
No.
but definitely the men in this book are not the heroes that they think they are.
Yeah, and
No.
this was written by a man, so don't come at us, people, okay? We don't hate men. It's just the men in this book were like, what is happening? This is crazy. Yeah.
If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So,
Preach.
Yeah.
That's something I think we're going to dive into a lot while we talk about this. There's a lot of segments in the book with the husbands in general, but especially with Carter because Patricia is the main housewife that we follow. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot to dig into there.
Yeah. When I first started reading this, I even wrote a note about it. I was like, I don't know if I like Patricia because she doesn't really have a personality. And then as I got further in the book, I was like, oh, no. This is not her fault. She is so suppressed and oppressed, I guess. Suppressed and depressed. And depressed. All the prests. She is stuck in this terrible marriage with a man who is not a real man because he does not treat his wife properly. He is so toxic, gaslighting everywhere, rude. Are you serious? Like, no. And then he tries to therapize her. Like, ugh. he's so creepy. He just gives me the chills. Like, ugh.
He's the worst. But let me just say, how great is it to see a main character who is a housewife? I feel like that's not a role that we often see main characters of books in. Mm-hmm. I think it was really great to see this, typically oppressed, typically not very interesting, typically not very heroic person be portrayed as all of those things.
Yeah, it was really nice to see all of that, and it was nice to see the friendship that the woman had and the realness of that. You have different relationships with everybody that you meet. Just because you're all friends doesn't mean you're all friends for the same reason. And the way that he was able to write these women all to be their own person and to be real people and not just housewives. I mean, I'm not a housewife. I don't have children, but I am a woman. And there are a lot of things that were brought up in this book that kind of could be construed as like mundane things, talk of cleaning or keeping house and stuff like that, that I really connected with and felt for these women, even though I'm not in the same position as them.
I also think, there were some of the housewives I feel like I didn't know as well, but it didn't bother me because I feel like Grady Hendrix wrote it in a way that, we were clearly from Patricia's perspective, and so the way all these women behave, they are all very guarded. So we don't know all of their secrets and all of the ins and outs of how they live their life, but we know how they present themselves to the world, and we see their true colors later in the book, for better and for worse. We see both sides. So, we don't know Kitty's whole story. We don't know Slick's whole story, but we get good snapshots, and it's like, oh, that's who she is, which I thought was really interesting because I find a lot of books go too far one way sometimes. It's like, too much, or it's like, who the hell is this? Why do I care? And I thought he was a really good in the middle, mystery, but I'm not missing too much info where I'm like, I don't care about Kitty or Slick,
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Yeah. And I think the author in his preface talks about how he basically wanted to pit Dracula against his mom, and how he grew up thinking that his mom wasn't very interesting, or that she didn't have a lot going on. And then as he got older and became an adult, he realized that she had all these things going on that he didn't even know, and that she wanted it that way. She was shielding him from all of the difficult things that she had to face every day.
I hope he got to tell her that. I don't know if his mom is still alive or what his personal story is, but I hope that she knows that, because that's so sweet. That's so
I know, and obviously a really great mom, because he was able to craft these intricate characters that have all sorts of strengths that are not usual. It would have been easy, I think, to, like you were saying, Kelly, to kind of stereotype and have them be like, why do I care about them? It's just, okay, I get the picture, I get what this character's supposed to do. But I thought they were all really complex women, and flawed and nuanced and everything. I thought the characters in it were great.
Yeah. I feel like they were written well, to the point where even if this book wasn't about a vampire and all of this extra crazy stuff, I would still be reading it and caring about, even if it was just about their day-to-day lives and normal things that people come against in the world or whatever. I would still be very interested in everything that these women were doing.
Yeah. Me too.
And then on the flip side, the men were written so horrendously, and in a good horrendously way. They were just awful.
Just trash.
Oh my God. The first book that comes to my mind, I don't know why, the stories are nowhere near the same, but Professor Umbridge in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, when I was a kid reading that, she made me so angry. I was like, how can we stand for this? This is terrible. I was pissed, okay? And then reading this book, I was like, how dare you? When, Carter, the whole time is just a piece of shit. And then we get to the point where she goes to confront the men. because they wanted to meet with the police, and they like ambush the women. All the husbands come and they're like, "You're being dumb. How dare you do this? You're not reading the Bible like you said you were," because Slick said it was like a Bible group or something.
Yeah, because she didn't want her husband Leland to know what kind of books they're reading because they're ungodly.
Yeah. So that whole scene, my heart was racing. My heart was racing in a few scenes in this book, like whether it was terrifying or just it made me so angry. And this was one of those scenes. I was so pissed off, and I was trying to explain it to my husband, and he was like, "Whoa, like there's a lot coming at me." And I was like, "Yeah."
Well, yeah, because you really got to see the power structure that these women were confined to. You know, they had no power of their own. It was very much the property that they owned belonged to their husbands, and the jobs that gave them money belonged to their husbands. And the one thing they had was this book club, and that's what the men assumed everything was about. You know, it's like the men were kind of thinking, "Oh, you're just reading all these books, and so that's what's got you in this mindset. And James is a real stand-up guy. He goes to our country club." Meanwhile, James is literally just stealing children and feeding on them and murdering people left, right, and center. And all the men care about is whether or not he can golf with them. It's blood boiling.
Yeah, I think that scene was, well, it was definitely written to be a pivotal scene, but it hit me in so many different ways. I was so mad for the women. I was mad at the men. I was mad at James for so many different reasons that I don't even think I could comprehend while I was reading it. Because I was mad about the vampirism and children eating, but then I was just mad about like basic things about him being like a shady dude and kind of like talking out of his ass about stuff. And the thing that got me the most about that scene was seeing how the other women interacted quietly with their husbands. So hearing the description of Leland looking at Slick when they said, you're reading these kind of garbage books that are about true crime, and Leland realizes it's not a Bible study, and hearing about their interaction, and Grace's husband looking at her and like the shame that comes over her, so much so that she's the first person to apologize to James. She kind of steps up for the group after Carter says to Patricia, "Are you kidding me right now? You need to apologize to this man. He's such a nice man, whatever." And Grace gets up and she kind of takes one for the team in a way and says, "I'm really sorry. We've been so silly. Look at us. We're just kind of silly housewives playing a game."
It's so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
My stomach is like in knots just remembering all that from you explaining it and telling everyone what happened. Like, because we've all been there, and it's unfortunate that we've all been there. It's disgusting. It's disgusting how Carter talks to his wife. Like, "You better apologize." Like, are you serious? Is she a child? No, she's not. I cannot believe. And then the ultimate betrayal, like, I understand being afraid, and the women are like, okay, we just need to like get out of the situation. I totally understand that. The ultimate betrayal is when Carter, I think it's Carter, in that scene is like, "Oh, we're going to join the book club, and James is also going to join." Because it's like, I don't care if you think I'm off my rocker and I've been reading too many books. If you think, like, that's such a weird statement, you've been reading too much, you know? But if you tell your partner, "Hey, I think this man is a danger to our children and to us," and you don't believe me and you don't want to listen to me, and then you invite him in, that's messed. Like, I'm sorry, that's terrible. And I don't mean that was like the biggest betrayal in the whole book, but in that scene, to me, that was the biggest betrayal. It's like, you're wrong, you're stupid, and I'm gonna put you in more danger because I don't believe you. Like, okay, fuck you. Sorry, I'm so angry.
No, it's true. I mean, I get it. It was a real testament to how far their relationship had fallen, because I think it says in the beginning of the book that Carter and Patricia met when they were quite young, and I think they've really kind of grown apart and don't even see each other as partners anymore. And it's so sad to see how he just literally sees her as a patient. You know, he's a psychiatrist. He just stops believing that she's a human person who he spends his life with. It's like as soon as he sees that she's saying things that he doesn't quite understand, he just flips all of a sudden into therapizing her and giving her pills and treating her like she's crazy, which I get it. It sounds a little wild to say, you know, I think that this man is a vampire who's hunting our children. But, I mean, there was no communication that happened. He just assumed right off the bat, like, you're wrong, you don't know what you're talking about, and I do because I know him. It really... Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, it made me angry about all the instances that you see in the media today about men being horrible predators and people standing up for them because they're like, no, I believe them and I've never had a bad experience, so it must not have happened. And it's just so awful.
Yeah, I was literally just thinking about that, not so much in the media, but just in day-to-day life.
Yep.
Where I've had situations where people that made me feel uncomfortable and I've told people about them and yet they still work with these people or hang out with these people. And that really bothers me because it's kind of sending a message like, I can keep doing these things and I'm still going to keep getting the things that I want. So it's okay.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time.
Yep. We're all in the arts in some form or other. And I totally agree with that. There are people in my, I don't want to say daily life, but people I know where I'm the exact same way. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable working with them. Here's why. You tell someone and they're like, oh, that's awful. And then they don't do anything. It's like, great, cool.
But they've always been really nice to me.
Yeah. Or
they're my friend.
What?
They're great to work with.
Yeah.
All of these things. Great. None of that matters. If somebody tells you that somebody's done something to them that makes them uncomfortable or worse, you do what's right.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, so here at BYOB, I think we all agree that we believe victims. We believe people who come forward. So
yeah,
whether it's vampires or sexual predators or just anyone who makes you feel uncomfortable.
Tilly, I said to my husband so many times, because he makes me watch those scary movies with him, and I'm like, I don't want to watch them, but I compromise, so I'll watch with my hands up, you know? But I said to him, if I am anywhere and I'm like, we need to get out of this house, or we need to whatever, because I feel some spooky going on, you listen to me. You don't go, oh, I don't believe you. Hey, ghost. Like they all do in the movies, right? They all do that, like, I don't believe you, and they try to goad the spirit or the monster, and then they die. Even the woman who was like, I don't think we should be here. I said to him, if I say anything like that to you, I don't care if you think I'm off my rocker. We're going. Or I'm going, and you can stay. I'm going. You're not keeping me there, you know? So, on a lighter note.
Yeah,
seriously.
The book really made me think about what I would do in a situation like that. Like, if my partner was telling me that they thought that they were seeing supernatural things, or if people around us were supernatural in some way, what would I do? Because on one hand, yes, I want to be supportive. I'm not a therapist, so I can't prescribe people drugs anyway. But like, I wouldn't want to get like crazy like Carter. But at the same time, what do you do? Because when you think about that in our world, those things are not known to be true, which is the same kind of world that Grady Hendrix is writing this book from. Real life kind of situations. This is an anomaly. So what would you guys, do you guys know what you would do?
Oh, God.
If you were in a situation like this? Like, how would you even make it better?
That's a really interesting
first
question.
Of all, I hope to never be in this situation.
Yes, knock on wood.
Yeah, if I were, I'd like to think that I would try and see the other person's perspective, but it would be really hard. I mean, when someone confronts your perception of reality and is throwing this wild thing that you don't really want to believe because it upends everything you thought you knew, I can see that being really difficult. But I think at the end of the day, you do need to try and listen to someone. Whether or not there's a real creature that's existing, this person is in distress. For some reason, there's something going on that's making them feel uncomfortable and awful. And I like to think I would try and help, but I don't know. I mean, who knows what we would do if we got in those situations.
I think, yeah, number one is you need to listen, because even if you don't necessarily understand or agree with everything, the first step is to listen, and listen to, is that what the expression is? Listen to hear, I think. Like, you need to actually, like, try to understand what they're saying and not just be like, okay, yeah, okay, cool. No, you need to actually take in what they're saying. And I think it all boils down to trust. Because Carter and Patricia don't trust each other, there's no trust in their relationship anymore because they don't treat each other properly and with respect. Of course, it's not going to work out with the whole, hey, I think there's a vampire in our midst, you know? Because I know with my husband and I, like, we have struggles, sure, but at the end of the day, I trust him and he trusts me. So if he came to me saying, I don't feel comfortable with this, something's going on, you would listen, or I would listen. And if it got really bad, if he kept telling me things over and over like Patricia is in the book, you have to trust your partner. In this case, it's a partner. Trust your partner and try to help out, or be like, okay, what can we do? Not, here's some meds. You need to apologize. I'm going to put you on a short leash. All this crap. Like, oh my God. So, yeah, I had a note in here that just says, OMFG. Wow. So there you go.
Love it.
I mean, I think that says all it needs to say.
Let's talk a little bit about Patricia's kids.
Oh my God.
Yeah, weird kids. So her teenage daughter, Corey, is going through her teenage years, and I'm saying that politely. I think she's withdrawn a little bit. She's become more listless. Patricia doesn't really know how to connect with her. And then, of course, we find out later that a lot of that is due to the fact that James has been feeding on her in a very gross, bad way. Then we've also got Blue, who is, I believe, 11.
He's like third? Oh. Maybe he starts off as like 9 or 11, or...
Okay.
Because it goes through a few years, yeah.
Yeah, like 5 years? Maybe 8 years.
It goes, there's quite a time kind of leap in there. But Blue has an unhealthy obsession with Nazis.
Yes.
Which is just...
Topical. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you guys. I kind of skated by that. I thought it was just, you know, another reason for Patricia's life to be hard because her kid has fucking weird interests. What did you guys think?
That's necessarily a weird interest.
I think it could get weird easily, though.
Yeah, I guess it depends. Because we don't really hear a lot about what he's saying specifically about Nazis. We just hear that he's talking about them all the time. So it could have really easily turned into, like, an apt pupil situation with this kid, like, wanting to be a Nazi or something like that. But it didn't, thankfully. It turned out to just be natural curiosity. There's a really funny quote from Mary Ellen in this book where she says, "Being a teenager isn't a number. It's the age where you stop liking them." So I think that kind of like sums up the feelings about the kids throughout the book by the parents, because there are a lot of like normal teenage things going on. Corey never wants to be at home. She wants to be with her friends all the time. She's really busy. She's out. She gets her license at some point in the book and they never see her anymore. All that kind of stuff. And then Blue's being weird. He watches his mother almost die in the kitchen, and that really affects him, and he has a lot of emotional problems after that. So there's a lot happening with the kids, and I really liked the way they were added into the story.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think it's easy to read the book and be like, wow, these kids are terrors, you know, like they're brats or whatever. But like, you look at the family situation and the parents are so disconnected. There's no real like family bonding happening. So I think like, yeah, there's a lot of normal teenage behavior in the book, but I think it's easy for James to prey on the family because they are so disconnected from each other and not healthy, you know? So it helps him groom them, you know what I mean? Like, it helps him groom Blue, helps him groom Corey, and they don't even notice it because Patricia is so cut off from her family because of Carter suppressing her. So it's so awful. Like, I kind of wish that there had been more with Corey in the book, but I understand why there wasn't, because they didn't really have a good relationship, the two of them, like Patricia and Corey, because Carter was a dick. You know, like, it goes back to Carter because he was controlling everybody. So it was so easy for James to come in and just, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, well, it comes out later in the book, James wants to get rid of Carter and make Patricia his wife, and he will feed on Corey, and then he will feed on Patricia, and kind of create this, like, family of food for him, essentially. And I didn't really think about this reading the book until that part, but how you see Carter's always at work. She says specifically that she eats dinner alone with the kids a lot, and then when Corey gets older, she eats dinner a lot with Blue on her own or with James. Because James will come over and make sure everybody's doing okay, and he'll have dessert with them, and he'll talk with Blue about Nazis and stuff. So you see really how he, like, infiltrates to become this kind of dad figure, and how successful he is at it. Blue loves him. He runs away from home and goes right to James's house, and James has him over for the night and helps him kind of mend his relationship with Patricia in some way, which we see is kind of for his benefit in the end. But yeah, I didn't really think about that when I was reading it the first time, and even when I was reading it the second time, really, until I got to that scene where he kind of propositions her for this new life. And I was like, yes. Yeah, it's clicking into place.
The grooming that's going on. This would be, like, such a weird Dr. Phil episode. Like, you know, this would be, like, his bread and butter. It'd be like, you're crazy. You left your wife alone with this vampire? You know, like... Like, he'd be like, my kids are terrible. My wife is stupid. And he'd be like, you're stupid because you, whatever, you know, like.
My God. Okay, first of all, I would pay good money to see Kelly do a one-woman show where she just is Dr. Phil.
I mean, yes. We're in a pandemic. I'm free. So, go
Let's do it tomorrow.
I need a mustache and a suit. Thank you.
Stat. No, I think that's a really great point, Nikki, that and Kelly too, I think you both kind of mentioned this, that it was so easy for James to infiltrate Patricia's family because they were so fractured and broken apart. It makes total sense in hindsight. But it also just led to so many creepy moments with when Patricia's alone with the two kids and there's somebody on the roof. I mean, I was sitting in my dark living room looking out a window, and I just couldn't keep reading. I was too scared. I mean, there's, like, an intruder. She's frightened. She's got her kids with her. There's, like, this hand slowly creeping up the roof. It was almost too much for me to handle.
It's coming from inside the house. That's what it was. I was like, oh my God. Like, grab the kids, you know? Yeah.
When she's, like, trying to shut the bathroom window, and she's, like, scrambling to, like, get up there, and... My heart was beating so fast during that. It was, I don't get scared easily, and I don't find suspense very effective in books unless it's done really well. And this book really got me in those moments. It's like Tilly was saying earlier, how all of the kind of thrilling and horrific moments were really earned in this book. And I agree. Because I find things kind of have to be scary the whole way through, or you have to be really good, because there is so much comedy in this book that it would have been really easy for those moments to be cheesy and kind of like slapstick, and they weren't at all.
Yeah. now that we're talking about scary bits, the rats. I'm not
Oh my
scared
God.
of rats. I'm not scared of rodents, but it was like 1984 on crack up in there. Like, it was like the room was being flooded with rats. And I didn't know until Patricia, thanks Patricia, she took out those books about vampires and everything from the library or like a used bookstore. And she was like, vampires can control small animals like rats and owls and bats. And I was like, what? Because I didn't know that thing about rats. So I was like, this is disgusting. Like, I knew it had to be him, but I was like, that's interesting. I didn't know that, you know? Like, how was that a thing? But it was disgusting. And oh my God, like, Miss Mary being eaten alive by rats, essentially. And then frickin' Mrs. Green was like, I can't help her anymore. And then she, like, ran into the bathroom. I'm like, like, imagine being in that situation and then also have to live with yourself having left that situation.
It was, I mean,
if you didn't leave the situation, she wouldn't have had to live with it because she would be dead. So
Yeah,
Great
survivor's
point.
guilt to the max.
Yeah.
yeah,
So gross.
that scene was really well done. I felt so, like, grossed out. I felt like things were kind of, like, crawling on me, and, like, I had to keep, like, scratching my arms and, like, brushing myself off.
oh my God. Speaking of
But in
things
the
crawling,
best way.
crawling on me. I mean, that scene in the attic with Patricia literally hiding under all these moldy blankets. She's having bugs
Yeah.
crawling all over her.
In her ears.
In
She
her
killed
ear.
one in her ear.
Yeah, I mean, talk about like visceral body horror. That was some wild banana stuff.
Yeah.
I have a real phobia for bugs. Like, spiders are the number one for me, but like, I was reading that section and it's like just what Nikki said. I was like scratching, I was checking my ears, like I felt just disgusting. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, took a shower. Like, if I was Patricia, I would have just been like, I'm here, get me out of here, like, get out of this blanket. Like, I could not just sit there
kill
quietly.
me now.
Yes, and just sit there and watch or feel a cockroach go in your ear and then fold your ear over and kill it.
It was honestly too much. I mean,
I need
there were
to
so
drink
many
my
scary
drink.
things. There were so many scary things happening in that scene. You know, not only was the bugs were crawling all over her and she was scared because she just found the body of the cleaning lady, so her suspicions were confirmed, but also that James was coming home early and he was tramping up the stairs and he knew that she was there. He was
And his,
calling
like,
to her.
His sing-song voice. Like,
Yes.
Where
Patricia.
are you, Patricia?
Yeah, and now she knows what he's truly capable of, like confirmed 100%. Oh my God, I'm getting like, I'm clenching my fist thinking about it.
And then she escapes the attic. She has to clean his house after, which the nerve, you know? She's got to clean all his white ass carpets because she doesn't want him to see that she was in there, even though he knows she was in there. But anyway.
But does he know that she knows that he knows that she knows that he knows?
But then she sees him and she has to pretend like everything's fine, and he, like, I forget what he says, but he says like a little inside joke where it's like, I knew you were there. Oh, so freaky.
Oh, he, like, comes to the door and he's like, I'm so sorry to interrupt you during your meal. I know I hate when my meals get interrupted.
Yes.
And I was like, almost through the book, I was like, oh my God.
He was a really great villain, honestly, and I really enjoyed that he wasn't like a typical Dracula kind of vampire. I mean, obviously there were elements of it. He slept during the day, and, you know, he had the kind of like weird aging skin thing going on where he got kind of like rejuvenated by feeding. But also they talk about this like gross insectoid, cryptoid, like cryptid leg thing coming out of his mouth, out of his throat. And, I mean, that's gross, but I also think it was really interesting that Grady Hendrix kind of did a little reinvention there, and that it wasn't described in full, you know, like we always saw that kind of in darkness, and I think that made it scarier, because then we could all kind of imagine what was scariest to us.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I thought it was really nice that they never, like, she kind of, like, says, like, I think he's a vampire, but then at the end it's never, like, James Harris was a vampire. It's just vampire was the closest thing they could get to describing whatever he is. Right. And I really liked that.
Yeah, because, like, who are they going to ask? And he never said, yes, I am this, you know?
Sorry, I'm just picturing, like, beep, beep, beep. Excuse me, Bram Stoker. Got a quick question for you.
Him as a vampire?
Anne Rice, are you there? Yeah. But also, we were talking about this before, about how a lot of times vampires are sexualized. And although there were certain things in this book that, like, you know, he was feeding on Corey near her genitalia, like he was sucking on her inner thigh, and it looked like she looked euphoric, but it was like horrific. Her mother walked in and saw this man like feeding on her daughter, and I appreciated that it wasn't super like romanticized or like made to be this like sexual kind of like, oh yes, whatever. Like when Patricia is fed on near the end, she says she felt a euphoria, but it was because of whatever he was doing to her. Like it wasn't a choice. It wasn't like in other vampire books or movies where it's like, yes, please bite me. Or how I said to you guys before, Tyra Banks had on the Twilight cast when the Twilight movie first came out. And I remember watching it and being like, what the hell is this? I gotta change the channel. Because Tyra Banks was like, okay, Robert Pattinson, would you bite my neck? And the crowd went wild. And then he did it. And I was like, this is disgusting. Like, Robert, don't do it. You don't. And Tyra, why are you asking that? That's so gross. Like, ew. But I'm glad the book wasn't like that. Because, yeah, this is a horror story. Okay? It's not a gothic romance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that he did a very tasteful job describing those things, especially when it came to the scene with Corey, because Patricia walks in and she clearly describes that they're both naked. James is also not wearing any clothes during the whole thing. And she hits him over the head and he doesn't notice. And she's hitting him repeatedly, and he's not noticing. Him and Corey are both still in this euphoric place. And then he finally kind of like pulls away, and he's like, what's going on? And she's like, get the fuck out of my house. And he grabs the stuff, and he leaves out the window. Like, But at no point was I like, ooh, this is getting steamy or anything even remotely in that area.
Right, and I think because it was all seen through Patricia's eyes, where she didn't want this to be happening to her daughter. She didn't want this to be happening to anybody. And so it was never in a kind of like, ooh, come hither, vampire moment. It was all very gross and visceral and bad, which, yeah I appreciate it, because I think it's kind of a bad model to indoctrinate young people into, that there are all these like vampire fantasy novels that are romantic, and you're special because this vampire who's 11,000 years old wants to like suck on your blood, and you're the only one who can provide it, and also he sparkles. And it's just it's kind of an unhealthy relationship model, and I'm glad that there are examples out here of vampire stuff that is not that.
Yeah. I think also on that note, though, this is an adult book. It's not meant for younger people. So, I mean, not that younger people can't read it, but he definitely didn't write this thinking about what are good relationship goals in the vampire human community that I should strive for.
Good point. I mean, why do you think, though, that there are so many vampire fantasy young adult novels that are like that?
Well, I think it's because a lot of it is about sexual awakenings, right? And it's about let go of your inhibitions and just like just feel, like be sensual, like just relax and focus on what you feel, I guess, essentially. And so, and it's alluring, right? It's like this mysterious person is so attracted to me that they're consumed by me, right? And so when you're younger and you're going through changes, going through changes,
Changes.
Changes. Yeah, I don't know why I went into like a southern old man there. Changes. But
Yeah, you should have stuck with the Dr. Phil.
when you're going through changes, you're gonna feel a little different.
Oh my god, spot on.
I don't think so.
You guys, Kelly is
because you're changing.
Kelly is a trained professional, and she knows what she's doing. And we should all respect it.
Can you see the bald head?
Full
If I
method.
close my eyes, I really can.
The glare is too much. No, but Kate, like, I think that's a huge part of it, is like teenagers or younger people, I mean adults too, they're trying to figure out what's going on with their body and like how they feel about things and how to allow themselves to feel things, right? And then it's like this mysterious, beautiful, because vampires are always beautiful, right? Because that's how they lure their targets, their victims, whatever you want to call them. So I think that's a huge factor.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said, I guess. I mean, I loved Twilight when I was younger. I still enjoy myself a good vampire book every once in a while. I enjoyed Interview with the Vampire. There's some weird shit in that. And like, but there's something to be said for the whole Twilight, what 12-year-old didn't read Twilight and wasn't like, oh my god, it's so romantic that he watches her at night. That's so fucking weird.
Yeah.
That's so weird. And if a person did that to me in real life, you bet your ass I'd be like, with my gun. I don't have a gun, but I get one. Like, if somebody was breaking into my room at night and watching me sleep, there'd be like fighting shit going down.
Yeah.
But back then I was like, oh, that's so cute. I love that. Edward, like Team Edward and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's media. It's kind of, it's not just with vampires. Mm-hmm. That's a common theme in a lot of young adult literature and TV.
Right,
and,
like forbidden.
Yes.
Yeah, forbidden love.
Yeah. But I mean, if we're going back to teenage dumb or whatever, right? If that was me, I would have had like a friggin' retainer and a headgear at night. No one's watching me sleep. You want to watch me sleep with a headgear on? I will represent for all the orthodontic teenagers out there, okay? I had everything but braces. And no guy is going to be like, yes, let me watch. I mean, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I don't know what guy would want to watch me sleep drooling with a headgear. Right? And I don't think that's romantic if you do. Too. Yeah, I'd be like, could you like not watch me? This is uncomfortable in many different ways. Like,
yeah, I think that's like a lot of like YA books, kind of getting off topic, but staying with the same kind of like stream. They're written by older people, usually, thinking about 25 to 30-year-olds and placing them in these teenage situations like high school and stuff like that. Because I mean, same, when I was a teenager reading these, I had braces and zits and like all the stuff, and like I didn't really know how to do my hair and I looked a hot mess and shit. But you're reading about all of these people, like Bella was like so beautiful but just like awkward and stuff, and I'm like, I'm awkward. But when I think about the kind of awkward I was, it wasn't cute. I don't know.
I ran into a girl from my high school a few years after I graduated at a New Year's Eve thing in town, and we were drunk, and she was like, you look so different than when you were in high school. And I was like, okay.
Wow,
and then
thanks.
she said, don't worry, it's a good thing. And I was like, cool. Thanks a lot. But going back to the book, this is on the same wavelength. Like, I think going back to what Tilly said about, like, we see James feeding on Corey through Patricia's perspective. I'm so glad that A, Grady Hendrix is a good writer, because he, B, didn't write it through a man's lens of being like, oh, there's a naked woman and whatever, you know, like, because first of all, it's not a sexual circumstance. It's abuse, you know, it's assault. So I read a book, I don't remember who wrote it, but the Red Sparrow book got turned into a movie with Jennifer Lawrence. I didn't finish the book because all of it, I could tell the author, the male author, was like, she was beautiful, she was sexy. Every scene was like, everyone wanted to be with her and sleep with her and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, she's trying to kill people. Like, could we get over this? Like, it was disgusting. It was disturbing. I've said disgusting a lot this episode, but it was. But I'm glad Grady Hendrix didn't do that, you know? Like, he is a good writer where he's like, this is traumatic. I'm not going to make it seem romanticized and sexual or, like, escapist. Like, no, this is assault, you know? So, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that, I mean, there's a place for books that have those kinds of things. There are people who have fetishes that have to do with stuff like that and whatever. So I think that there is a place to express those things, but they should be warned about.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going into a book, if someone said, this book has themes of this, and this, I could be like, I'm not going to read that because that's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But books don't tend to have those kinds of trigger warnings on them because people write them and they go, yeah, this is fine. This is normal, natural, healthy, whatever for everybody.
Yeah. Well, and then moving on to when Slick is raped, that scene, I mean, we weren't there when it happened because the whole book is through Patricia's perspective, but that was just so upsetting afterwards, and Patricia was going to go see how she was because she knew something was wrong, I think, and she had to, like, tell, it's Leland, is how you say it?
Yeah.
Leland?
So Slick called her from the bathroom and she said he was here, something happened, and she sounded really shaken up. So Patricia goes to her house.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, it was, that whole part was really hard to read. I mean, it really, Slick was kind of the unsung hero of the whole story, really. I mean, here she was, this kind of quiet, good Christian woman who had something really awful happen to her, and then she had to make a decision about how she wanted to kind of be remembered or how she wanted to go. Because I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the idea was that she was kind of turning into a creature like James herself, right?
Yeah, she mentions at one point when she's in the hospital how she can feel something in her throat.
Right.
Like the kind of insectal leg is growing in there. And she says, I want to be cremated. And so that's what they do because they're nice and they listen to her wishes. But yeah, the scene with her when she's kind of like describing what happened, maybe it's because I read a lot of horror kind of genre books. It didn't bother me that much. Like, I wasn't personally like triggered by anything that she was saying. The part that got me the most and made me the most upset is when Patricia's going upstairs and Leland follows her and she says, no, it's okay. I'm just going to go in there because she's dealing with some lady issues. And he's like, I really want to see if she's okay. And Patricia kind of reassures him and says, no, go back down and play games with the boys. She'll be fine. I'm going to deal with this. And he says, I just love her so much. I don't know what I would do if anything happened to Slick. And that broke my heart. That was the saddest part to me.
Yeah. And I wonder if, because of what we discussed earlier about how the men and women treated each other in this book, I wonder if he ever told her that, like, what their relationship was like, because she doesn't last for very long after that night. You know, she's in the hospital in, is she in intensive care? I don't remember.
She is.
Yeah, so it's just, and I was confused when I was reading it. So she was not impregnated.
No.
Okay, it was just she was growing a little addendum.
Yeah, she was. I think the whole idea is that she would die and wake up as this kind of vampiric creature.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, as awful as it all was, that kind of evidence was what convinced the rest of the book club that Patricia was telling the truth. I mean, I think it's a really terrible thing to have happened, but story-wise, that was the thing that compelled everyone to take Patricia seriously and to take decisive action.
Yes, because Kitty saw what happened in the attic with Patricia and the body of Mrs. Savage or Miss Savage not Miss Savage, sorry, the cleaning
name was
lady.
Francine.
Yes, thank you, Francine. So Kitty saw that and was like, I don't want to get involved. We shouldn't be here. She just freaked out. And then Slick, because she was such a devout Christian, and she was like, I don't want to get in the middle of anything, and just like, nope, it's not my place. When she was attacked and all the women saw this and she was like, I'm going to speak out against him so you know what's happening, that's why they all were like, oh, everyone but Grace, because she was dealing with her own abusive relationship. But yeah, it's terrible what happened to her, but she's a hero, you know? She saved the day.
Yeah, it definitely was the catalyst for the climax of the book and the ending. Mm-hmm. We don't know how it would have ended if she wouldn't have, like, this wouldn't have happened to her. So yeah, you touched upon Grace. So maybe we should talk a little bit about Grace, because she has some interesting stuff happening too.
Yeah, I actually, my favorite quote is from Grace, if I can read it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is when Grace is polishing and cleaning all of the silverware and china, I believe. And Patricia goes and she's like, can you stop cleaning the china for a second and just admit that I'm right about everything, and like, can you be on my side, basically? And she's like, no, because I have to do these things because Bennett's going to be coming home. And she's like, I just can't. And Patricia is not happy about it. And she's like, there are more important things than cleaning. And Grace says, why do you pretend what we do is nothing? Every day, all the chaos and messiness of life happens, and every day we clean it all up. Without us, they would just wallow in filth and disorder, and nothing of any consequence would ever get done. Who taught you to sneer at that? I'll tell you who. Someone who took their mother for granted. And I just thought, like, wow, that is such an interesting take, because it's true. It's everything we talked about at the beginning of this episode about silly housewives who don't know what they're doing and blah, 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 right? And Patricia's like, can you just help me out? Like, stop cleaning. And Grace is like, okay, bitch, shit's going on, okay? My husband is not going to be happy because she's stuck in an abusive relationship where we find out later she is literally being beaten, you know?
I think it's actually in the same scene. This is after they all get bombarded by the husbands at the book club. Mm-hmm. And she has kind of a split lip when this is happening. She's saying kind of, I need to get the china done because I have to do supper because Bennett's coming home. Mm-hmm. I have things that need to happen. You need to leave right now.
Yeah.
And Patricia says, you can do all of this and you can be the perfect housewife, but your husband's still going to come home and smack you in the mouth when he has a bad day.
Yeah.
So that to me was one of the most kind of hard-hitting moments. I've never been hit in a relationship or anything, but that to me like felt like I was getting hit. That one line felt like a slap in the face even to me, and I've never experienced anything like that. I
have a question about that. I just thought of it now. Do you think Patricia saying that, is she saying it to upset Grace and be like, well, blah, blah, blah? Or do you think she's trying to help her by saying, like, you need to get out of this?
I think it's probably a bit of both, like, to shock her into kind of action.
I think she's speaking purely out of, like, rage. I mean, if I was in that situation and that was happening to me, I really don't think the first thing on my mind would be helping that person. I would be like that's such a sharp like remark. Grace has obviously been dealing with this for years, and Grace knows that she needs to get out of it if she wants to. You know what I mean? But like, I don't think that Patricia was saying that to be helpful at all.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, like, it's like a betrayal of their friendship for her to be like that to Grace in a way. You know what I mean? Even though I understand she's angry and she's trying to get help for her family and everyone's family, really, because of James. But I don't know if it came... I guess I'm asking, like, did it come off as, like, she cares about Grace, or she's like, okay, screw it, your life is fucked, goodbye, you know? Like, I don't know, it's tricky.
That's kind of how I took it. Like, maybe not like your life is fucked, but when like Grace already did the worst thing to Patricia that she could. She apologized to the men and kind of was like, F you to Patricia, nothing that you say matters because I have my own life to think about and I'm going to keep going with that. And so I really think, you can, like, we've probably all had friends like this where we like try to nicely get things across to them and they don't want to hear it and they don't want to help themselves until the point where it's like, okay, whatever, you can just do whatever you want to do and I can't deal with it anymore. And I think that's where Patricia was coming from. You can only help somebody as much as they want to be helped. And Grace kind of saying all of those things before clearly said that she didn't want to be helped and that she was fine to keep doing what she needed to do and be the housewife, in my opinion.
Makes sense. Yeah. And then it must be a little later in the book, but we're back in Grace's house and the china is broken everywhere. So it's like it was all for naught. Ugh, the men in this book.
Tough. I mean, it doesn't sound like it, but I promise you there were funny moments in this book. And ultimately, I think there was a lot of really beautiful stuff in amongst all the difficult real life issues that were coming up.
Yeah. And speaking of difficult real life issues, let's talk about Mrs. Green and the women's complete lack of empathy towards the children of 6 Mile.
Oh my God, yeah. If this isn't topical, I don't know what is. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Take it away, Nikki, since you brought it up.
I was really saddened but not surprised by this topic. So we see the children of 6 Mile getting eaten, essentially withered away by James throughout the book, and Mrs. Green having to send her own children away to live with her sister so that they would be safe. And we see Patricia try to help and then eventually kind of give up trying to help Mrs. Green and her community because, well, it's a lot to be one person and try to help a whole community. That I'm not saying that that's not hard, but also she has her own kids. Her friends are kind of in opposition to her doing this, saying, like, let people deal with their own problems. And then towards the end of the book, she kind of snaps back into this mode of being like, no, we have to do something. And her and Mrs. Green team up again at the end to kind of save the day. But we see Kitty go to 6 Mile with Patricia and see the conditions that are there. It's kind of like a slum, essentially, kind of the descriptions. Everybody's living in these trailers with tarps and there's mess everywhere and windows are broken out and everything like that. And yeah, so I'll leave it there. And
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult topic to discuss, especially because the three of us as co-hosts are all white.
Yeah.
But I do think that the issues of race were handled thoughtfully in this book. I think
Agreed.
it could have gone a different way and been more tokenistic or more stereotypical. And I think that the characters of color that existed in this book were there to engage with the white characters. It wasn't just an appearance. It was an engagement and an argument and a coming together at the end. I mean, I don't know that I'm really the person to speak on whether it was a good representation of racial issues or racial issues at that time. I mean, this book is set in the 80s and early 90s, but in a way it did sadly make sense that a predator could come in and prey on this community that was mostly people of color, and that he could go on doing it for as long as he wanted because people like Patricia, who live in this privileged gated community, wouldn't care as long as it didn't affect them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, Miss Green, she was not just there to be like, we have it rough. She was a real developed character with a story arc. She came in at the end and she chopped that man up. The other women couldn't do it. And she was like, give me the knife. You know, like she was ready to do it.
Yeah.
And like Tilly said so beautifully, we're all white. We can't speak on whether this was handled the correct way or the best way. But I believe in my heart that Grady Hendrix was trying to showcase a real problem that is still a problem today. And I agree, I personally didn't think any of the black characters were there just to be a token black character. I thought Miss Green was a strong character. I thought she was very integral to the story and important to the story. And she's the one who listens to Miss Mary. And she's the one who tells Patricia about Hoyt Pickens. Well, no, Miss Mary tells her, but she helps her with the photograph. You know, she's trying to alert Patricia all the time. Like, you need to wake up because maybe it's not a problem in your backyard, but it's a problem and you should care about it. And we should care about it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think, there was a bit of a white savior narrative with Patricia being the one kind of ultimately to champion the day. I don't know. I don't have a good point about it. I just thought it should be said.
Mm-hmm. So for the end of the book, we see Patricia kind of sacrificing herself for James while her friends waited out to come in and do their business, I guess. But Grace is not there. She has decided she does not want any part of this. So it's Mary Ellen, Kitty, and Mrs. Green.
Yeah, that scene was really hard for me to read just because I have a vivid imagination and I feel like it's true, Tilly. I feel like I would have been able to read it with less squeamishly, I guess, if he wasn't still alert and talking while he was being cut up. That was
my favorite part.
a little morbid for me, but I mean, Miss Fun Home over here. She was fine. But no, I mean, thank God for Grace, because you knew she had to come in. I mean, we've all seen movies, we've all read books, right? But like, when she came in the door, I was like, thank God she showed up.
She showed up just at the right time. I mean, they'd all been saying, I wish Chris. I mean, they'd all been saying, I wish Grace was here. If only Grace was here, she would know what to do. And she showed up, and she knew exactly what to do. I mean, she and Mrs. Green had this really great moment where they both said, between the two of us, we've cleaned 1,000 homes. And she said, I'd like to do this. And Mrs. Green said, interesting. I do that.
Yeah, she says, I use hot water, and Miss Green goes, I use cold, and Grace goes, interesting. And then they just kind of like
get to work.
Go on, and they like get to scrubbing that white carpet. What a good tip. If you want to know if people are breaking into your house, put white carpet everywhere, because
Yes.
I guarantee you other people are not scrubbing the carpet before they leave people's houses.
Mm-hmm.
Man, the only good use for white carpet.
Yeah. But I'd come in and I'd be like, did someone come in or was that from me?
Honestly, with my zoo, I have a dog and 2 cats, listeners. With my zoo, it wouldn't last. I'd be like, no, the white carpet is now black. Like, it would not happen. It's disgusting. Disgusting again. Is that the word of the episode? Disgusting.
There were some
Really.
disgusting things that happened in this book, so I guess it kind of makes sense.
But it was funny.
We promise
It was great.
funny.
It was
Yeah.
great. I mean, I loved the book, so I don't want you guys to sit here and think that it was just awful. I don't know. Are we doing a good job?
I hope so. Let us know, listeners. And I really liked the part about the peach tree. How Miss Mary was like, she wouldn't let anyone eat a peach off of that tree because she thought it was cursed because of her father being killed. It was like he
No.
was... What? Isn't that what happened?
No,
He
because the Hoyt Pickens made it seem like this black man was the one who was killing all of the children, and he was buried alive, and the tree grew on top of him.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. That was... But then Patricia had a peach, and she was like, I thought it tasted sweet.
Yeah.
Before she knew about
Yes.
Hoyt Pickens.
Oh, yeah.
obviously.
She didn't know.
She doesn't have a taste for human flesh.
No. She wasn't like, yes, injustice. No. Oh my God. But I thought that was a very good visual, like the tree, because like we said in the Raven Boys, trees are majestic, mysterious, you know, and there's another tree, you know, there's a peach tree.
It was interesting, too, that there are, in the however many books we've read for this podcast, 2 of them have characters named Blue, which is not what I would call a typical name.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Huh.
Huh.
Are there any other books with characters named Blue that you want us to read?
Let us know.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the BYOB podcast. If you enjoyed this and want to hear more from us, you can head over to our social media accounts to keep up to date on what books we'll be reading in the future. Stay tuned after this to hear the first line of our next read, Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adeyemi, which is a young adult West African-inspired fantasy novel which conjures a world of magic and danger. See you next time, and until then, keep on drinking in great stories. Cheers!
Next time on BYOB, the Bring Your Own Book podcast. I try not to think of her.